Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our online workshop, Learn How to Build Your Brand Online. Firstly, thank you for joining us today. My name is Courtney Sandor and I'm the Events Coordinator here at Realise Business. So Realise Business is a leading social enterprise empowering people to successfully run a business. Through our events, we bring our advisors, presenters and members together to share their expert knowledge in the interest of helping each other to learn and grow to their highest potential. So we've partnered with the Northern Beaches Council to provide this digital solutions program. So today's workshop is the second of 6 sessions that we'll be bringing to you over the next month to help you and your business. So if you haven't already done so, we encourage you to register for all of the sessions that we have coming up, even if you can't attend live on the day. So over the next month, we'll be covering email and newsletter marketing foundations, social media 101, marketing foundations, and everything that you need to know about Google My Business. So we're also providing the opportunity for you to receive one-to-one business advice through the federal government's ASBAS program. So ASBAS Digital Solutions provides small businesses with low-cost, high-quality advice on a range of solutions to help you meet your business needs and grow your digital abilities. So if you'd like to book in your session, you can simply call the office, or you can simply reply back to a thank you email you receive in coming days. So before we get started, I'm just going to run through some quick housekeeping points. So you do have the opportunity to turn your microphone on and off, but could you please have it on mute unless you're speaking. You can also ask questions via the chat box. Ask questions at any time. Let us know if you're having any audio or video issues, and this session is being recorded, so everyone will receive a copy of this in coming days. So now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce today's presenter, Realise Business Advisor, Megan.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the How Do We Build Our Brand Online. As we go through the session, we've got about an hour and a half today, and we'll be running through a program which is going to take you through sort of the way I would plan for how to build my brand online. A little bit of background about myself. I've been consulting and working with the Business Connect program and with Realise Business for the last couple of years, and then I also run my own marketing consultancy and have worked, pretty much across most businesses. So, our role here is to very much help you guys, and definitely when it comes down to a bit of a classical marketer. So when it comes down to building our brand, whether it's online or offline, I'm always very going to classically start with, what is our brand? What is our brand position? And really think about what the headlines are and how we pitch. And the lesson is, when we deal with online versus offline, is that, we've really got to be concise and very aligned in terms of what we offer and how we do it differently from everyone else to carve out our own proposition. So when, we're talking about today, we very much live in a multi-platform digital world. And obviously, the advent of COVID last year, and as it continues, really tracked all businesses to online. And it was a real sort of wake-up call for a lot of small businesses, particularly if they were just in the bricks and mortar space, is that they needed to kind of move online across all touch points and industries. Everything sort of zoomed up. And what it means is that we really need to, a lot of people took a lot of time to reflect if they were really being concise about the information that they're sharing and whether it's relevant. And that, and I've been dealing with a lot of small businesses in the last year, and that's what we've been really trying to do, is really trying to sharpen what they say for their customers so that it's really clear and no one's wasting any time. You just want to be upfront, clear and direct. So yes, brands need to have an online presence to serve their digitally savvy customers. And these days, we talk about website and social presence, and that's all important. The goal of any of this activity is to attract your target customer to your activity. So definitely requires a plan. It's a way, plan of how you connect, what you say, and then you've really got to think about what relationship do you want to develop? How do you want to engage and build trust? So it's about what conversations can I start and what kind of information is going to be relevant, and how is that going to sell and encourage people and give people trust to use my products and services. So when we talk about the online plan, the plan of attack for me today is to really, let's just revisit our target customers. Then when we're online, we need to understand the way our customers, the way we all do, we're actually all customers, the way we search online. And generally, guess what? 90% of the time, that's in Google. Once we're searching, we need to understand how we display our content. And then I'm going to, because your content and your searching happens before anyone finds your website, unless they know you directly. So then we'll go into website. Then we'll talk about the content, social, revisit and really think about email. And then I've talked a little bit about business to business as a little bit of a summary page as well. So kicking off with our target customer, we're really going to have a think about, and when we talk about brands and our target customer, the term we always use is about positioning. And it's kind of like, what position do we have in our customer's mind and in her world? Sometimes we've got a position and it's not always prioritized, it's not always top of mind. We've just always got to work out where we fit in to her lifestyle and where our products are relevant to her lifestyle or her work style, whatever the scenario is. It might be her sporting environment. We've got to work out and be relevant and think about that context of where we fit into her life. There's obviously multiple platforms and multiple opportunities for us to connect with our customers. And obviously we've got websites, we've got social media, there's Google. She could, if it's business, we've got industry conferences, seminars, obviously products, bricks and mortar. There's Google as a platform to work within. There's PR, radio, YouTube, and a lot of people, you could also be doing things like ebooks and those sorts of things, depending on what your business is. So there's all these platforms. And when it comes down to our target customer and the way we brand, we must be very single-minded and consistent across all these platforms. And by that, I mean, understand what our customer wants, understand how we add value to her or his life, own it very consistently. So the goal about branding, and we know everyone's really, really busy, is you've got to come up with the brand positioning that's going to be unique and relevant and clear and consistent across all those touch points. And you've got to really position and target a position in your customer's mindset. So think about if we're going to, go and park it at a Westfield, and when you go driving around those car parks, and it's like you probably sometimes got a position you always go to, other times you don't, you're not kind of searching. Sometimes there's a little bit of a green light that tells us where the parks are. So I want you to think about that, because all of us, that's our headspace. At any one time, we have multiple car spots. So you've got to work out, how do I consistently say, this is my brand, this is how I add value, and this is where it's relevant for you. And that's what I want you to think about. You've got to think about getting a really specific car spot in their head and be consistent about what you tell them and why it's relevant and how you add value. So when I talk about brand value to your customer, there's a variety of different ways. Customers love, there's lots of kind of gurus in the marketing world, and you'll hear them all talk about, your why and your story is everything. And at the end of the day, that's because people buy people. People buy stories. They want to know why you do what you do. That's why they want to know what your purpose is. They want to know what your passion is. They want a context. It's when you meet friends, you kind of, you'll start a relationship and a conversation with someone. You want to understand, why do you do what you do? And then we want to think about, so we need to understand why you exist. And then we want to understand pretty quickly how you're going to add, what's in it for me? What are you going to add value to me? So what do you provide? What do you give me? Do you put a smile on my face? Are you giving me a functional benefit or an emotional feeling? And you really got to differentiate what's the difference between the benefits and the emotions and those features. And then you've got to have some sort of a character. So how do we do that? What's the personality and values and the tone of our voice? How do we do that? And when we come down to that place in our customer's mind, we want to know, what are the points of difference versus the competition? What is it that you do that's different to everyone else? How do you stand out versus the competition? Again, I always sort of want you to start thinking about, what are the benefits? How do you add the value versus the product features, in terms of, so are you saving people's lives from not falling off a roof, which is a fantastic benefit, by the height safety products that you provide? Or are you going to be quality standard checked? Difference between a benefit and a product feature. So I want you to think about that. How does it work for a customer? Are you going to be the baker that's closest to you? You know, whatever it is, think about the reasons to believe. Why do customers should buy from you? So you've got to give them reasons to trust you, and it's got to be meaningful. So if I'm online, I need to understand pretty quickly, what are you going to give to me, and what's going to make me think, wow, that's someone that I think I could trust. So it might be a review, it might be a free shipping and a easy return. It might be, what are the kind of action points, if you think about being online, that would make someone go, okay, I might give them a go, and they look pretty trustworthy and there's reasons to believe. And if they kind of dig a little deeper, they might go, okay, these guys have been doing this for a while, or maybe they've just started, but they've got a great background in a particular area. They're the sort of things you've got to think about quickly aligning, so that it makes it easy for someone to understand what you're offering. At the same time, when we think about what are our customers, we need to understand what our customers are, because we need to understand what happens when they search. And when I say understand our customers, we need to understand, you know, the more defined you can get in terms of understanding your customers and the profile, it helps. So it could be the hobbies, it could be the occupations, the taste, the preferences, the income, the education. It could be the, when they use my product. Is my product an in-home? Is my product an out-of-home? Is my product used for dinner time? Is my product used when you go, you know, is it something you wear when you go out? Is it something you wear when you're playing sport? Is it a service that you use when you're doing your tax? Let's think about the mindsets of when people are using our products. And that's how I would map who it is and who's more common and why they're using it, and come up with those interests. You can ask your customers. So, you know, often, you know, everyone, you know, do a little bit of research with your customers. If you've got really good customers, then get their words and get their understanding of how they use their products and your products. What's the context? And I always check in. I always say, look, you know, just tell me, what is it that I do? What is it that my product does? And how does it differ from some of the other competitors that are out there? Get that feedback. Really important feedback to gather in terms of their words and their understanding and their context, because it means that I can talk about my product and write content that's going to be relevant and actually make sense to the way the customers use my products. When you're searching online, let's think about when we're customers. And they talk about, how do we get into the mindset and the head of the digital searcher? But I think it's for all of us. You know, I'm going to go out for dinner tonight. So I'm going to go, I want to find a new restaurant to eat tonight. So I might go and have a look. So I'm searching for a new restaurant. So you need to be telling her quickly what you do. So if she's searching for restaurants near me, and she might be looking for choices, you've got to quickly say, yep, I'm an Italian, I'm a gourmet, I'm a fish, I'm a burger joint. Pretty quickly, you've got to tell her who you are and what you're doing. She wants it now, so she needs to be specific and give us something relevant. So she's saying, I want to do something on a Monday night, and someone might be saying, we have a special on Monday nights. Okay, so somehow you're going to align to whatever she's thinking about. She's lazy and not sure if she can be bothered, so you've got to give her easy ways to find information, give her something for free. So if she's, you know, the objective is now when she's searching is you kind of want to say, it's that parking spot. Hi, I'm here. This might be relevant for you. So I'm not going to necessarily write a huge story. I'm not going to give her a book, but I might give her headlines as to things that might be relevant for her as they relate to your product or service. So if I was a restaurant, I might be quickly telling her the cuisine I've got, the specials I've got on a Monday night, the great wine, easy parking, and we have a reward system for all our fabulous local community, diners for the evening. So I'm going to give her reasons pretty quickly that will align as to why she's going to come to me. And then she's wondering how she's going to trust me when you do that. So if I've got an online presence and I've got some good, Google reviews and I've got some commentary and those sorts of things, then she'll use that to kind of review different brands in the ranking. And then she wants to know what's in it for her. So you might want to give her some benefits and some outcomes and experiences. So you might be just saying, delicious food. It might be great shopping. It might be free returns, free delivery. You've got to think about what are the kind of little nuggets that she's going to go, wow, that's a great idea. And then we're going to encourage her to have a conversation, encouraging her to engage. And ideally, she's going to be clicking on your presence online to find out more and get that information. But that's sort of the way we do. So if anyone thinks about the way we go online, you're going to say, I want to find a plumber near me. Pretty quickly, I get a whole listing of plumbers that are coming up, and I've got to navigate through that pretty quickly. So the ones that stand out are the ones that can quickly understand what I'm looking for and give me the key information that I need that relates to the service or product environment that we're dealing with, and answers my questions, which is kind of those nuggets that encourage me in terms of my experience to go and explore further. One thing to remember when we talk about our customers, and generally it ends up being that they call it the 80-20 rule. So generally 20% of our customers generate 80% of the profits. Now they've been studying this and redoing this number for many, many years, and it ends up being pretty similar in most industries. What it says is that a chunk of your customers are worth more to you. So when we talk about understand your customers, that's probably where I'd kind of reinforce. Talk to the customers that you know really well, that keep on coming back, and focus on them with laser-like precision. So they're the people I want you to try and follow up with a call. Thanks so much for connecting. I'd love to understand how you found out about me. Thanks. What stood out for you? What is it that you service? Get close and understand. I'd love to know a little bit more about how you use my product and how you use my service. What works best for you? What's the time of day and those sorts of things. So be focused on who is your best fit. When also it comes down to, they talk about reactivating old and lost customers. So it's kind of like you go fishing where the fish are, but it's kind of like, when we know that people have used our product, not only do I want to know the ones that use me regularly, but if I know someone's come in and used my product or service, and then they haven't come back for a while, I want to understand why. Obviously I always want to talk to those people, because obviously if they've used my product once or a couple of times and maybe they're not regular, I need to understand what the difference is and why. So I would look at, how do I reactivate and re-engage lost customers? Generally, you'll find that those reactivations and those re-engaging lost is often a far more cost-effective way sometimes than going out and just finding completely new customers. So always work with the people that have kind of come into our realm of our brand and our product first. And that's when we kind of want to stay connected. So online, when we stay connected, we can do everything. So we can, email is obviously often the most direct. If we've got an email address, fantastic. Work it, use it, send emails. And I've got some great stats on you on the emails, because at any one time, only around 20% of your 100% are going to open an email at any one time. So if you send an email once every month, then you're only going to get to 100% of your customers in about 5 months. Yeah. So you can send, there's no problem sending emails, send posts, give them updates, educate, inform, give them case studies. You can promote and you can advertise. And the objective of all of this is, how do I stay top of mind in my customer's head? So is there any, just out of interest, is everyone, can I just ask actually, when we're talking about the 80-20 rule on our customers, can I just find out, because I think it's really useful, how many of us are actually doing little surveys or questioning our customers, kind of checking in with our customers directly? Is anyone sort of doing mini research or any kind of checking in? No? Okay, so that's, and as we go through this, now you can do your check-ins anywhere, all right? And often if you've got social media and you've got Facebook and those sorts of things, Instagram, and we can even send an email. It's quite easy to do SurveyMonkey. We can do it. We can always do things. And it's a really nice way, because you know when someone says to you, it's like when your friends come to you and they go, hey, Megan, I'm just checking in. Is everything okay with you? And you go, wow, thanks very much for asking. Or someone sends me an email, how's your day going? It's nice. It's how you build relationships. So I want you to kind of all start to get the framework of your own brands and services and say, how do I check in with the customers? What you'll find is that the customers who you are closest to will give you more scope to ask more questions. And often, you know, if it's, you know, if I'm running a B2B and I've got some customers that are buying a lot of product, or there's a high value equated to the purchase of my products or services, often I'll give them a follow-up call, or I might direct message them and say, thanks so much. Look, you know, here's something special for you. I'd love just to get some feedback from you. Would you mind? And I can tell you the majority of the time they won't. They're actually quite valued that you've bothered to kind of follow through and check in with them. So that's when it comes down to being online. I really want you to think about, that's sort of why I want to start with the customer, because you really got to think about the who, the what, and the why, because that is that understanding, and even their language, the words that they use, that's really important when we move through to the next section, which in essence is when we come down and we're going to go and search, because this is where we all are today. We've arrived, we're here, and we're going to go searching. And when we're searching, guess what? Most of us end up being on our mobiles, generally. And the search online, we're all going to jump into Google, and that's like 75% of all searches. I know there's been kind of some noise about Google. It's not going anywhere. They're here to stay. There's some rumblings, I think, a couple of months ago about Google maybe going away, but they're not going to go away. They're not going to go away. They're just kind of doing some posturing with governments. Google are kind of here to stay, and everyone is using it for their searches. Now, when we're in Google, we need to kind of understand that on the first page, the rules or the play of the land is that the first 5 organic results will account for the 67% of all clicks. So that's what that means is, and I can kind of tell you, when you go into a Google page, there's always going to be the ads at the top, then you're going to get the little map, and then you're going to get the organic searches. And all that is that's the first page. It's like the screen of our computer, or kind of the screen. Maybe it's like 2 screens that we scroll through on the mobile. That is really important to be in, because we don't have time. We're not going to go searching for something over heaps of Google pages, because I trust Google. They'll have done all the rankings for me, I'm sure. So that is definitely where all the clicks will go. And then it says that 88% of consumers who search for a business on a mobile, they call within 24 hours. So guess what that means? It's very important to have your mobile at the top of your website, and particularly when we're on here, we want to use it, we want to see it at the top, and they will just make sure it's clicked and they will call you. Rules, because 52% of all that traffic is on mobile, and it keeps on changing. It keeps on getting higher. The other thing to remember about Google, so Google is a big company with lots of smart people, and there's no way we can beat Google. So the only thing we can do is we have to work with Google. And look, what their algorithm, Google is, the whole ranking of Google is all based around users. And it's all based around language, natural language, and actions. So in other words, it's Megan here. I'm sitting here going, and I've got a plumber. There's a tap dripping, and I've just got I write tap dripping, need plumber now near me. Okay. And they go, fantastic. Megan put in her words. And so you've got to think like a consumer, not the product seller. So, and you've got to think about what we do, the actions we do. We like click, we call, we like, we share, we swipe, we have photos, videos, we'll have some kind of keywords, expressions. So you've got to think about, so for my product and my service, what would my users, we've got to understand the way consumers talk about our products and use our products. What's their language? Because that's the language. Think about the way you all search online as well. What do? We don't do paragraphs. We might just do, we might do plumber near me. I might just do emergency plumber. I might do, whatever it is, but it's pretty short and sharp. So there's some keywords that you put in, and there might be some phrases. So that's how you've got to think. That's all Google does. It aligns what people search for, and then it matches it with the content that you provide. Your content, first point of call, is going to be just the headlines you've got for your website, those top 2-3 lines, and then it looks at the content you've got in all your pages, and it says, how does that match with what my users are asking for? That is what it's all about, and that's the ranking that occurs. So the goal is to make sure you understand your consumers and you understand how they talk about and reference your products and your services, and then you quality in your content and the way you help and inform them must align with the user's language and their actions. There's lots of kind of products that you can use. So there's Google tools and free support. There's Google My Business, Google AdWords, Google Analytics, Google Keywords, and lots of different things that you can make use of. Google also can guarantee your lead results, or you don't pay, except there's something happening with the algorithms at the moment. So I'm that's sort of getting a little confusing. But I suppose the answer is I don't want everyone to get lost in these terms like the SEO or the search engine optimization. I want you to plan for success. And the way you plan for success is understand your target customer, understand how people use your product and service, understand the language that they use to reference your product and service, and then make sure your content references those same words. So write your content on your brand and service in the language of that 80% of consumers who use your product. That's kind of your core understanding that you must follow through. Here's some just, so and kind of, how do we get done? So, nearby location, all the kind of reasons why people click on a search. So they go, it's going to be a nearby location. So yeah, local stuff is good. Known retailer, they look at the review stars, they look at the number of Google followers, if there's a discount or sale offer, free shipping, free returns. They want an image and price is shown, and then contact information and display results. So anything to do with that image and the price and more information, well, Google, not only do you just have your ranking in Google, but Google give you a free tool. It's called Google My Business. And in Google My Business, you can put all your information, which is you can put photos, you can put a shop in, you can connect it to your website, and you can put in for more information about your product, and it's free. So do all of those elements to help yourselves. So just kind of so everyone's kind of looking for something near me. So they're on mobile, and they say that 80% of them are going to call or visit within 24 hours, and it's all online. So the local businesses have extremely high potential for traffic from people on the go. So they look at where can I buy and what's near me. And those kind of queries have grown heaps in the past 2 years. Very interesting, obviously since COVID as well, because we couldn't move around. So we were definitely doing more shopping and more searching for things that were close to us so we could go and access them. So again, I need a little bit of can I do a little check-in with everyone? How many people have got their phone number linked at the top of their websites? A couple, not everyone. Okay, for everyone that doesn't, can you please put your number up there? Really, really important. And look, some people say to me, oh, Megan, I'm going to get spam calls. I'm going to get, people. I haven't. I've told people to do it, and when they're doing it and they haven't, continued to have those kind of concerns since they've done it. But what it does is it means that the majority of people, when they search online, are online. And if they if they've kind of got to the point where they've found you and they're in your website, and you put a great headline at the top that says, "Hi, Megan, my product and service is fantastic for you, and this is exactly what you're looking for." And I can go, "Okay, cool. I'm just going to call you. I'm going to call you." It's just timely. I'm not going to fill out a box and write a story to you for you then to write a story back to me. I am going to get on the phone and call you if I think it's relevant to me. I'm not going to waste time. I don't have time. All right. So make sure your number is readily available everywhere and make sure it's all linked. So once we've done the searching, so that's us. So we're consumers. Yep. We're here. I want to find something. I want to go and find something. I've got to go and do a new deck. I want to find someone that can make a new deck. And I know to go and work out what new decks are happening in terms of woods and things like that. So I'm just going to jump online. So, that's me as the consumer. So whoever I'm going to find online, guess what's going to happen in the first page? First 1 to 2 pages of me searching on this is going to happen. And the ones that get ranked in terms of companies that get ranked highest are the ones that are going to be best aligned to the way I talk and the way I'm searching, which is pretty basic and pretty simple, but obviously it might relate to the product and the service. So then you've got to think about, how am I displaying my information? So I've done a little bit of a map. All right, so I went in and I was looking for roof safety. Then I went and I had a look for height safety. Then I had a brand and I could look and see a brand. And then, and they're all on the left-hand side of your screen. So kind of, this is how consumers search online. But look, when I come in here, so when I go searching, Google ranks how everyone else searches. So I know pretty quickly, these are my keywords. Roof safety harness, roof safety systems, roof safety harness Australia, roof safety equipment, roof mesh rail, all sorts of things. So if I put in, I want to make a deck, wooden deck, it's probably going to come up with a whole list of things that other people search for. So that's how I understand a bit of this user language. Google's very helpful to me. When I do height safety, it again says there's height safety engineers, there's height safety specialists, there's Height Safety Sydney. Then there's this company called Anchor Me. There are fall protection and height safety equipment specialists. Cool. First company, they're doing good. Has to be one of my brands that I'm working with. But see, the fact I can get them ranked when people someone comes in under height safety, it's good. We're working it. And the reason we're doing it is the words are identical. Height safety, height safety. Probably I'd go back to the Anchor Me guys and say, if I want to go under the roof safety, I need roof safety in my description as well. So it matches. Does that, if I look at Anchor Me, see how I've got him. If I just look at Anchor Me, it comes up fall protection and height safety. Then he's got another, these are all different pages, height safety equipment specialist, different ways to anchor it. When I come to the right over here, and let me just move, I don't think you can see that. I'm going to move that there. This is the way he kind of comes up. So obviously he has products that he sells, and obviously see the beginning of this page, you can see it's the ads. So all his products are up in the shopping in Google, all up there. So you pay for that, right? They're all ads. He then he's got an ad here, and then this is his actual website. So he's making use of ads, putting some money into Google. So he gets in the shopping, which is a promotional area. He does this, and then he's got his own website that comes up. And then there's all sorts of other information. We've got his name, his LinkedIn profile. We've got other sites that he sells his products, and we've got a variety of different social media that might also come up, and he gets sold through Bunnings. So everything comes up, all in terms of online. But the thing that we're learning is that we all have to have it anchored and pretty consistently under the right copy to do it. The other thing is this one on the right-hand side, this is his Google My Business. So this one is Google My Business. And obviously that's free. You can put photos in. You can also set products up, and you can have it like a little shop here as well. And then you can put your description in, and you can put videos and all sorts of things that you want in that. So it really does help you. So you've just got to think about, how do my consumers search online? What are their words that they're using? And then how do I align my content to match the way the majority of them search? And really think about, now the keywords are things like the height safety, or it's about, you know, roof anchor, specific products, keywords and phrases. And then think about, how do I maximize my display when I'm in Google? This is what we call organic search. Yeah. So what they say is, so that's a page. So we're saying that you've got the ads, you'll have a map, you'll have the ads, and then this is the organic search section, which is really coming down. And I'll have a look at another page. So if I go to looking for a plumber, and I've just, let me just move this out of the way for me. So if we're just doing, sorry, let's go back. So if I'm looking for a plumber, and all I've just done, I was up at Avoca Beach and I was looking up, we needed to get a plumber. So I looked for plumbers in Avoca Beach. So I'll be quite specific. I'll be area specific. See how the ads come up to begin with? Then you get the map, and then these are the organic ones. So when for your individual website, this is where you've got to try and see if we can get anchored. It's an emergency. If I'm at this point and it's an emergency, I'll start looking at these and start thinking, which ones will I use? And probably at this point, I'm probably going to have a look at both of these guys, because I think both of them are local. Both of them have probably got the same amount of stars, and I'll use that as a bit of a comparison. So I'll probably, at this point, both of them have got numbers, and I'll probably have a look at those guys. And at the fact that I know they've got websites and they'll have those sorts of things. When I have a look up, I want to kind of think what this ad does is it tells me what else is important when I look for plumbers. So it could be they might do free quotes. They might be plumbers that do everything. I suppose I want prompt and efficient. They do gas fittings. Obviously, gas fitting is a different request to someone else, and they've got excellent reviews. So see how they're kind of thinking through. This is kind of the important data. You get about 2 to 3 lines. So what are the headlines going to be for your products and services that are going to stand out to someone like myself searching for your product and service? Think about your customers. Think about what those products and headlines are. So that is, you know, Google Business will help you stand out because they help you give information. The metadata in your website helps you and helps Google read it. And then you can study what happens in terms of the way people track using your Google Analytics. So when we come across here, and on this particular page, let me just reduce that. When we do this, quality and useful user context. So people search first before they find your website, your social, and the retail store. So you've got to think about your customer user needs. Answer what I'm looking for. What kind of problem do you think I have? Provide me with some news, entertain me, video, imagery, something I can share. And just think about the online reviews. When we talk about quality content, obviously we're looking in, I find a company, this is the first 2 to 3 lines is what I see. And sometimes if they've got their SERP set up, they'll have their kind of core sections broken out. And I'll have a look over here in terms of the Google My Business, and they'll tell you information. But this is important. These kind of headlines, you've got 2 to 3 lines. So you've got to be really tight in terms of understanding when people are searching for your product and your service, what are going to be the core things that stand out and differentiate you and are going to be discriminating and relevant for your consumers. I'm looking for the best burgers in Paddington. So I come to this, I get my list and I've got a few. So I then go in and I'm going to say, okay, let me go and have a look at this. Probably again, obviously there's a ranking, but I probably will go in and I've kind of picked on the one that might have different points, but obviously look at these 3 ones. There's obviously someone's going to focus in on the fact they've got dine-in, takeaway, and delivery. This one has got a quote, the best burgers are exceptional. Had the best burger. So think about, how do you make use of these lines? Betty's Burgers is a classic burger shack serving the freshest juice and the most mouth-watering burgers around. If you were going to do the top 3 lines for your product, how would you break it out? How would you do it differently to attract customers and differentiate your business? So when we think about the headlines for your brand, let's think about it. Option A is a digital marketing agency, Austin, with 700 plus clients served. Digital marketing is agency Austin. Which one, guys, are you going to pick? A or B? Do you guys just want to put it in? Which one are you going to pick? A or B? I'm presuming that you guys are going to go for, if I had just 2 statements, digital marketing agency Austin, or I've just got digital marketing agency Austin, I'm probably going to go for the one that tells me they've got 700 clients served. If I look at option A or option B for Bluetooth noise cancelling headphones, and then one's got free shipping, no surprise, I'm sure you guys are going to go for it as well. Which one has got the free shipping? Guess what? It sways us, it directs us. You've got to think about this as a journey. So when you think about your brands, and you might have your core statement, or I might be a dentist in, North Sydney. But if I put next to it, I might put specialist in digital, smile design. I might put down free consultation. What are the kind of relevant headlines are you going to put in that are going to sway me from looking at your listing versus someone else's? That's what you've got to think about. Think about your headline. Think about your consumer. What's relevant and what's going to stand out and get noticed versus the rest of your competition. Because I can tell you, if I've got all plumbers and everyone says free consultation and they're all matching identically the same headlines, I'll be confused. I'll probably go back and look at reviews. So think about your space, think about your context, think about your display, and then you've got to crack it in terms of how do I sway them to stand out one more than others. Any questions at this point before we come back? And I might just stop sharing for a second there.
So we did have a couple of questions come through from Carol. Carol, did you want to come off mute and maybe ask Megan them directly?
I've forgotten the question.
That's okay. So in the chat box, you mentioned, so what happens if you have a landline? Is it better to go with the mobile in regards to putting your number on your website?
Oh, good question. If you've got a landline, I think it's fine. I just think number, so it doesn't have to be mobile. So just have a contact number. So the objective of the number is so someone can call you. So just have a contact number. So often though, if you do have a landline, so just think about it. Sometimes people will put their landlines in and that you can just obviously redirect that to your mobile if no one's there to answer it or have an answering. Some people, if they're really busy, they will just take a message and just call people back. And sometimes people use that as a bit of a, a lot of people have started off with that because they're a bit concerned about getting people calling them on the mobile, and they're feeling that was a bit too personal when it's their mobile. So what they were doing is they were putting a landline, redirecting it to their mobile. It also let them sometimes, depending on what your business and what your service is, sometimes it was helping them actually listen to what the questions were. And then they were able to ring back and give them a far more directed response. Yeah, so it doesn't actually have to be a mobile, just have a contact number. But ideally, if it's, if they're saying that within 24 hours, even for business to business, I know that the rules of engagement are that you really need to, so if I'm doing a sales and someone responds to a sales that I've done, the lessons for business is you've got to ring within 24 hours. And they've done all this kind of studies, and it's like if you ring within 12 hours, if you ring within 2 to 3 hours, your probability of success rate on a sale, irrespective of the value, is huge. It's really big. So it's just really interesting. So I mean, one is obviously the consumers, if they're seeing, they go, okay, this is interesting, I've got some questions, they're just going to want to call you. And if you can respond and give them, great quality customer service and answer their questions that it's relevant, it's a great way to be, because nothing beats a conversation with a customer. You know what I mean? If you can get in there and have that conversation and satisfy, that's those reasons to believe, satisfy any issues or concerns that they might have. When they're in that search mode, you're just ticking off the different things that they need, which is fantastic. Any other questions at that point?
So we did also have one that come through from Gwen, so I'm just going to ask her to unmute and she's going to ask you the question.
Yeah, hi, thank you so much. The two examples that you gave, I'm wondering whereabouts on the website are you thinking they would have put those two ideal sentences?
So look, we're going to come in and have a look at websites now, actually. So it's going to actually be a good segue. But I think in that you've always just got to sharpen the pencil everywhere. So, like that's the goal of that's the marketing dream. If I can get my tagline to represent exactly the customer value proposition for my customer, then I put it everywhere. So I put it into my, and if I know what those kind of headlines are, then I put it in my metadata. I put it into and I'll put it on the front page of my website as well. I'll put it everywhere. I'll put that into my Facebook. I'll put it into my LinkedIn, and I'll own it across all platforms.
Right,
Yeah,
got it.
always.
And it's a matter of constantly kind of testing those taglines as well, I suppose.
Yeah, and
okay,
always,
thank you.
Yeah, and go with your best shot. So it's kind of do your homework. And this is where you can kind of play with. That's where I use social media, and you can use, even Google AdWords. You could have 2 Google AdWords and you could split test them. You could do the same, even on posts in your Facebook or your Instagram, split test them and just see which ones get more response.
Yeah.
But the closer you are to your customers, go to the 80-20 rule. If you've got some really good customers or close friends that know your business, ask them, is this me or is this me? Be direct. That, or you might say, what do you guys think of this?
Yeah, perfect.
Once you get that, go in there. Nike just do it. They have not changed that. All right.
Yeah.
Once you get it, you do your homework to fine tune what it is once you get it. But you might still have a few statements that relevant for your brand. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But be consistent. Less is always more.
Yeah. Okay,
right?
Great. Thank you, Megan. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. So let me just go back to sharing. Okay. So now we're going to go in and we are going to go to that website. So great segue. So when it comes down to the website, as with everywhere, you've got 0.05 seconds. So we've gone looking for, I don't know, a restaurant tonight, or I've gone looking for wood for my deck. I've gone and searched in Google. I found a few sites, and then I go in and I check out people's websites. And it makes or breaks it. The first screen makes or breaks it in about 0.05 seconds. Fact. It's not changing. So everyone, have a look at this. Okay. What do you remember? Can you guys just type in for me? What stood out, if anything? Did anything stand out? Is anything coming through, Courtney?
Yep, so we've got Deb, was it a sandwich, question mark? Then we had Sky with photogenic image. Neva, difficult font to read on island, cool hipster bloke on this.
Okay. Well, what does that say, guys? There you go. There's your 0.05 seconds. So let's just okay. So, was it a sandwich? This one, no. Well, it's a gazette. So that's Messina, which was a big photo of their product. Cool hip guy would be, I reckon, this one, which is LG, which is all about their new, refresh your sound, their new, what do you call them? The earpods. This one, in terms of this beautiful visual, that's Dave C. Gray. He's a property entrepreneur, and that is where his business is, which is up at Port Macquarie. And this one is these guys are renowned for capability, people and culture, but what do? So they do transport and utilities infrastructure. Interesting. But that, you know what that does is that tells us pretty quickly that you need to, as you know, Glenn referred to before. So that process of making sure we have our headlines right and they're relevant has to happen on your front screens. And you know what it is? It's a bit of a mix of, isn't it? It's an image, funky guy image. We saw like the kind of the beachy image or something like a sandwich. Image works, and then you need a headline. And this very much is really what your customer value proposition should be. You should say brand X helps customer Y by doing what or to do what. That is your customer value proposition. I want that loud and clear on the homepage. Very, very important. Because that's, you know, that's the kind of key takeout. You've got very little time to tell your customer that may not know you, when you come in, what you're going to do for them and how you're going to add value and solve their problem that they're searching for. So think about, there's a thing called the AIDA Principle. So attention is you stand out and get noticed. So have a compelling headline and image, tell your customer what they get. Then when we go through the website, we want to create interest. So, you know, it's a journey. So you're going to have some clicks to videos, buttons, products, demonstration, testimonial, free downloads to learn more, calls to action. You might, you know, you're going to have desires. So, you know, what are the kind of things that are going to sway them that will relate to your product and service? So buy one, get one free, free shipping, buy two, get a discount, earn rewards, sign up and get 10% off your first purchase. What are you going to give them? You know, call to find out more, join the mailing list and get a discount for visiting, ask a question. When it comes down your website, you know, and this is kind of some generals. So that's kind of, you got to think about your AIDA, think about your plan. Website must load quickly. You've only got points, so have a plan about their experience, the look and the feel, the engagement, the conversion. And then develop and nurture the relationship. You know, what's in it for them? It's got to be rewarding and sustainable. And it's kind of the less is more. But, you know, what do they say? So content, 80%. So they're going to go onto that page. So your headline on your homepage, like your metadata in display and search, really quickly must articulate what you do for whom. Make life simple. Then they're kind of going to go in and they're going to check it's all relevant. Does that match what you said before? Does that match what you say everywhere else? So consistency, really important. Your brand needs to be transparent. So look, by transparent, it's just being authentic and being real. And they're saying, you know, they want it to be meaningful, is good for business. So 70% of consumers buy from brands who share the same values as they do. But look at what, you know, and what they're saying too, then it's like the tone, it's the language you use. And if you understand your customer's language, then that's most of the work done. What it also means for some brands and some businesses, it might also mean that, you know, the values could relate to things such as recycling, or it could relate to other things like that as well. There could be some causes that you're passionate about and that are relevant to your customers as well. And then obviously customer service. You know, 73% of consumers cite customer experience as one of the most important factors in purchasing decisions. And generally that's going to happen when they come down and they call as well. But it's got to be easy. It's got to be that they email you or they want to talk to you and you respond immediately, then you've got a pretty good chance of converting a sale. The other thing when it comes down to your websites is that a signature color is also good. So, you know, obviously if we think about brands, you know, what are kind of some consistent brands in terms of colors, you know, like a Tiffany blue or a Rolex green, or just different colors for different brands. You'll find that a lot of the telcos end up using oranges, like the Vodafones and things like that. But obviously it just is consistent because that color, you can again, guess what, align it across all your platforms. And you're just helping customers, you're just helping with them with their experience. So this is kind of my design. This is kind of my website design checklist. I'd kind of say top of the page, make sure you have your brand customer value proposition. So brand X, quickly tell your customer what you do for them. Quickly identify your customer. You know, so you might be saying, you know, this is for everyone building a deck, a wooden deck. I'll go, wow, that's me, yes. For people that are doing yoga, or you might want to be more specific, for people that are, for mums and kids wanting to do yoga. Think about how you can really tighten what it is that you've got. The content, think about the benefits, not the product features. So if I'm thinking about my client, Anchor Me, and they're in height safety, what are the benefits? The benefits are you don't fall off a roof and die. I mean, that's a pretty strong one. But I think that the benefits of you are safe at any height on any roof is a great benefit versus the fact that you're compliant. The compliant is the product feature, and yes, it's important, but you've got to think about what's the benefit to the builders that are going to be using your product. What's in it for them? Good images, videos, people like customer testimonials, case studies. The one thing I've noted though, when people put down the customer testimonials, I don't need books on this. I want to, you know, I don't want them to say, yep, Megan does a good presentation. I'd like them to think about trying to get them so they're a bit more, you know, you will learn something about, you know, building a brand online. You're going to get some classic, I hope, that, you know, marketing news and information. I should really think about, you know, when you put those testimonials, I see a lot when I go to a lot of websites and they're just kind of all these words and I get lost in the words. So if you want to put it in, highlight the words like this, highlight in the yellow, the words that are relevant. So you make it easy for me to understand what you're selling and what you're plussing out. When it's going to be easy to use and navigate. So we don't want it too busy with copy and images. You do need copy though. So a lot of people don't have any copy and then Google can't read your website. You need words that relate to the keywords of the way people search. So you do need copy. You need some images, but just not too much, you know, or if you need to, if it's something that does require quite a bit of copy, break the words copy up into smaller sentences, into little bite-sized. Keep it clean and clear. Always check your website works on your desktop and also your mobile. And the fact that more people are searching on mobile now than laptop means it prioritizes your mobile view in the way it rolls through. When I look at a website and the way it rolls through on my laptop, on my mobile, have calls to action everywhere. You know, you want leads, you want calls, emails, clicks, provide feedback, give them ratings. Phone, you want, you know, linked and work, still the #1 sales conversion. Think about what you can give, you know, like have a little, if you're in a business, you're selling something, you might have a little catalog they can download, some sort of an ebook. Ebook could be a catalog, a shopping catalog. It could be a hints and tips. It could be all those sorts of things. Discount codes, tips, recipes, demonstrations, customer stories. And then obviously you will link to your social, your Facebook, your Instagram, LinkedIn. You might be linking to partners or relevant resources. And please definitely gather emails. Get, you know, and when people sign up, you know, offer them something when they sign up, you know, sign up and get 10% off your next purchase, sign up and get a free ebook, those sorts of things, you know. Because obviously, you know, if you're going to get me to sign up, you know, I always sign up, and it's, tell you what, it's always going to be the fashion ones, or it's going to be the makeup. And they're always offering me, you know, something off my next purchase, which is probably why they, you know, that's the hook to get me to sign in to their mailing list. Having a look at some other websites. If we had a look at this one, so this is for an air conditioner. So they've got, it's in, you know, upgrade your living spaces with Mojo Air. Contact us for a complete quote. So we can jump into a quote. We could give them a call today. That's nice and easy and linked. And I understand they do residential, commercial, and industrial. So pretty quickly, they're kind of saying residential, go here, commercial or industrial. It just navigates us pretty quickly through their website. If we have a look at this, think about the calls to action. These were examples of, you know, everything must be, you know, you'll post your ad, your marketing message on your website, go to the website, pick up a phone and call. Now people are busy and need to know what to do. So this is, someone uses this as an ebook as a way to kind of drive business. This is a shop front. So, you know, are you, you know, and I love this way. Are you an eco trader? Join our tribe for the way to shop. So that's kind of very much that kind of value proposition and community building. Charlotte Tilbury's always kind of signing up, and, you know, look at this one for leggings. So these are two examples, you know, give me your email address, but I'm going to give you something. Great way. Sign up today and receive your first leggings for free. Sign up, get 10% off. So just think about what can you give people. If you're in a business to business, it might be, you know, and get tips or something little ebook to kind of give them, make them feel good. How many people have got shops online out of interest in the group? And maybe Courtney, because I can't see, do you want to just tell me how many people have got shops?
Yep, so we've got a couple of hands up. So we had Carol and Sky both have a store, or online store, sorry. Okay, fantastic. So when you're doing the online store, and obviously these are kind of deep dives, but the key thing is just make sure, in terms of making sure that your checkout process is really easy for your customer. If you've got multiple payments, I'd be showing, if I've got multiple payments, I would show that everywhere on my website pretty quickly. You know, if you've got PayPal, Afterpay, those sorts of things, make sure it's very visible, and particularly when they're in the checkout, make sure that your website's secure with SSL certificates. The fact is that more than 60% abandon before they finish. So, you know, make sure that you're following up with abandonment campaigns, you know, that says, hi, Megan, I saw that you were looking at this item, you didn't follow up. Is there anything else I can help you with? So follow up and remarket with emails and Facebook ads about the product that you were looking to buy. Make sure your phone number's everywhere so that if they've got an issue, they can call someone and chat. And they do believe that a high percentage of people still want to talk to someone before they buy. So the chat box is a nice idea, but it doesn't beat a conversation. And just continue to retarget, follow up, and create value. And just remember, someone's gone through all the hard work to get to your site. So take value in that. You know, I commend you guys. If you've got someone into your site, remember that sometimes if we're looking to buy things, sometimes we'll go in, we'll check it out, and we're just not ready at that particular point in time. So don't get let down by the fact that they don't buy. That is a huge opportunity, because I've jumped through lots of hoops to get to your website.
and get into your shop. So if I'm at that point, there's obviously lots of things that I liked about your product and service for me to have gone that far along the journey without me jumping out. So I think you need to kind of really think about that in a different way and say, wow, okay, I've got these people, and they were. So if you spend a little time and effort just politely nurturing me back in, give me some deals, nurture me back in, then you will potentially, you've got a higher probability of getting a sale. And that's the things that you've got to think through. They've jumped through all of this, you know, give them discounts, you know, speak in terms of their language. This is a gorgeous little thing called FlexiWear. And, you know, and her language is all about, it's all about, you know, mums and kids, and, you know, language is very much, you know, it's about active wear that doesn't cost, you know, is fun to wear and doesn't cost the earth, very much in terms of consumer speak. She sends out her emails calling them gorgeous and those sorts of things, but that's very much in tune with how she nurtures the relationship with her community, and they love it. They absolutely love it. Some more websites to see what they're doing. We've got Louise, we've got Sales On, we've got Harris Farm. Always start off with a shop online with Harris Farm and get $10 off every shop. And they'll always have some sort of checkout code. So do Coles and Woolies, they do it very successfully, and they build their rewards programs. When you're dealing with business to business, you know, often when you're dealing with business to business in this particular sense, you kind of want to get their thing. But, you know, when I would be doing this, I'd be offering them a free consultation and say, look, I'll give you 20-minute, you know, I'll give you a free consultation, sign up and you'll get a free consultation, and I'll give you, just nominate a time for you, you know, when you'd like to be spoken to, and I'll give you a follow-up call. Because I know when I'm dealing with business to business, if I've gotten to this point and they haven't called me, I need to kind of entice them to come and have a conversation with me. So I will offer them, you know, a free discussion, or it might be, it might be, maybe there's some sort of an ebook in terms of tips or something that I could give them that it adds value to them, so they start to trust and have a relationship with me. Obviously, if you're selling products, it's often easier to do this sort of stuff. When you're dealing with business to business, we really have to think about what's relevant to them and what are they going to be interested in, and how can I do it? How do I attract them across? You know, visitors basically leave your site when they don't get what they want and what they expect. So we've got to understand what they're looking for first. Make sure you plan, act, review. For everyone's websites, you can go to a thing called SEO Optima, and there's a variety of different things. You can throw your website in, they do it for free, and then it tells you. It's a really good, quick way to kind of say, you know, your SEO is this, your usability, your performance, your social, and your security is Y. And it gives you a little web map of what's working and what's not. And I encourage you all to do it. It's a great way to kind of just test what's working and what's not working on your website. You can also, you know, use Google Analytics and kind of think about what you're doing. You can measure how many people come to your pages, what's their journey from page 1 to page 2, where do they stop, and understand what that journey is of customers once they're in your website. And I want you to kind of, when you do a Google ad, you always have a goal and an approach and a result. So think about that the same way when you think about your websites. What's the goal? You know, as the goal to, they come to my website, what do you want? Do you want them to give you a call? Do you want them to buy something direct off the shop? So have a think about what's that a goal, and then your approach should optimize what that goal and that task is. And then you should be able to review the results and measure how well you're doing at it. And that will differ to, you know, depending on whether you're a service oriented or you've basically got a shop already online. But if you're in business or your services, then, you know, ideally, you know, our websites are going to be where people might check, you know, find out more about our product or services. They're going to want reasons to believe. They'll be checking out on our product, maybe what the requirements of a product or service are. They'll want to drill a bit more about who the team are or certain things. Let's make sure we understand what that journey is and we prioritize it. Okay, any questions from the team on their websites?
Neva, we had a great question for you. Did you want to come off mute and ask Megan?
It's actually more about social media, but if that's okay with Megan. My question is, so I'm in business to business, but business to customer as well, if you can imagine. So I work in the support office for Explore and Develop. We've got 29 franchisees.
Yeah.
I'm trying to develop brand guidelines for them for use on social media.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are quite entrepreneurial in that they like to sort of, you know, I want to call the shots. I run my own service. This is the way it should be. But they also like the protection of having the brand. That's why they're part of our service. So I feel like I'm trying to run a course with them, provide them with brand guidelines, and, you know, I don't want to dob them in, but I'm trying to obviously encourage them to do the right thing and follow the brand guidelines. And I'm developing them downloadable templates that they can use. I'm trying to make it easier.
Yeah,
so my
great.
target audience are actually the franchisees, but obviously the end user as well. Yeah.
Look, whenever you're dealing with a brand and you're dealing with franchisees, so, you know, you've got to think about it. You're dealing with a master brand. And your master brand is, you know, and at the end of the day, the brand gets sold to customer. Yes.
Yeah.
So customers, you know, the fact that you've got a franchisee's business doesn't matter. You still want to have your guidelines of your master brand. So it doesn't matter whether you're Cadbury or your whoever, Rolex or Tiffany or whatever, whoever they work with, they have their master guidelines. But I understand your franchisees, they've got their own businesses. So obviously I would suggest you need to kind of differentiate the difference between your master brand, the customer value proposition, and your taglines is not going to change. That needs to be consistent across the board, like all of the brands everywhere. But obviously with the franchisees, they're going to want to develop their own local community. So I think you need to give them some space, because otherwise they'll feel a little bit trapped. So you kind of need to give them a little bit. And, you know, there can be, obviously, when it comes down to developing their lead structures, and they can be talking about their teams. So you can split the content, which should be master brand, and then you might split the content between master, and then you might have franchise specific. Franchise specific could relate to teams. It could relate to, you know, they can talk about their own teams, and they can talk about what they do for the community, which is quite, you know, which is still like, it builds personality, and it builds that tone, and it builds that the localness of it without necessarily changing the master brand customer value proposition. That's how and, you know, I can hear that, because I can see them going, oh, you know, and I don't want to encourage, you don't want to dampen their enthusiasm.
Yeah.
But there are some core rules, and then, you know, give them the guidelines should be doing that. These are the master brand, but this is the areas where you guys can play, and let them have some examples so they can definitely build their localness and build their own teams and build their own profiles.
Okay, great.
That's how I would. Does that help?
Yeah, thanks.
Great. Any other thoughts?
Carol, we had another question come through a little bit earlier that you had. Did you want to ask Megan directly?
Can you remind me of that question again, please?
There we go.
Was that one on the local? Was that talking about local?
Yes, so you've just got, what if you service more than local?
So Megan, I service more than local, and I notice that Google likes to have your address as such.
It does.
But then it goes off that. But local is not enough for us. It's quite minimized. So what do I do when it's more?
Well, then so what you need to do is, so obviously when you do, so have you got Google My Business?
Yes.
So in the Google My Business, there's a section there, it talks about what locations do you service. So in that info, fill in all the info. So you could say, I service Sydney, Sutherland Shire, Hornsby. You could put in whatever areas you want. When you go into your metadata in your display for your business, actually, Carol, what is your business out of interest?
I assess unhealthy buildings. Okay.
So you might be, so whatever it is, so, you know, assessing unhealthy buildings, and you might just do it, we do it, you know, Australia-wide, it could be Sydney-wide, it could be Southern Sydney. Be specific about your regions there. Use that. so that people understand what it is. And then make sure you've got that covered in your website copy as well. Now you'll see it, you know, so therefore you could be doing, maybe on your homepage, you might say, you know, I assess unhealthy buildings in the southwestern region of Sydney, and in these, and you might put the suburbs in. You could play with it. You can make sure you've got the content at different places and reinforce it. Yeah, so does that help? And just try and see whether that anchors it. Obviously, some other people, like if they're plumbers, you might see them doing, they will replicate the SEO, their home pages, by multiple suburbs. So they're going to do plumber St Ives, plumber Paddington, and that, you know, Google doesn't like that necessarily, because they're not changing any of the content on the pages. A lot of SEO guys do that sort of stuff. Look, some of it works, some of it doesn't. My thoughts are always start with your base product and work with it as cleanly as you can, because you kind of get rewarded by that. Once you start replicating content, Google goes, well, what are they doing? Why are they replicating all that content? And you'll find that a lot of it doesn't work as well. So just start playing with it and just seeing. That's what I would be doing. Just make it easy without kind of complicating it. But definitely make sure that you put all your SEO, your metadata, make sure that's really importantly done with core words on every page in your website. And then when you come to your Google search, make sure that's as tight as it can be. So the headline of what assessing unhealthy buildings, Australia-wide, Sydney-wide, you might want to do suburbs, and they might want to do like free consultation. You've got to think about what your headlines are, Carol, for that. Yeah. So it's just efficient. And then when people go into your website, I want to see that up the top as well. Make it consistent. Put that on your Facebook or any of your other platforms that you're advertising or promoting with your product as well. Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. So let's come back. Let's keep going. So brand should be direct, relevant, authentic, nurture relationships. And you've got to come up with, you know, we're talking that before, master brand stuff, it's DNA and it doesn't change. You know, that question about, you know, dealing with the main brand or dealing with franchisees, a brand's a brand. You've got classic DNA, work out what your DNA is. I work with a lot of the businesses that I consult with. Majority, probably the first 2 meetings we do is we sit down and we work out this. We come up with our brand doc and we come up with exactly what our content is. And the kind of brand value proposition tells the customer the #1 reason why a product or service is best. So, you know, are you going to be a yoga teacher, or are you going to be discriminated and targeted? Yoga for mums and professional women, anti-anxiety yoga. You're end-to-end property guy, you're a lifestyle property entrepreneur. Are you a Zoho partner, or do you, you know, are you a suite of online business applications to help small business? Roof anchors, or are you products designed to keep you safe when working at roofs and heights? You know, are you electricians, or are you partners delivering technology solutions for government and business? Be very clear. This is kind of the most important things I need you guys to think about. Headlines. What is it that you do? You know, your safety is guaranteed at any height, or products that are compliant and tested by WorkSafe New South Wales. I love MailChimp. They send better email. It's just concise. It's exactly what they do. Dollar Shave Club is a great shave for a few bucks a month, and it's online. Yeah. So, you know, when we kind of think about other brands, I want you to think about your brands in exactly the same way. Have you really fine-tuned exactly what that content is, what you do? Now, obviously, a business to business, you know, when obviously there's nothing quite like an iPhone, they're always focused in on what's their point of difference and what their features are and the new things. Spotify is soundtrack of your life. Messina, or what's this? Guzman, as always, about the taste, you know, taste buds, you know, tell your taste buds their siesta is over. So it's all about flavor. Salesforce B2B, you know, they know that if someone comes into Salesforce, they're going to talk about the big companies that they do work for, because that's their reason to believe. These are all the reasons to believe. Tiffany, I just got to look at that color. I know all about the story about Tiffany. Nike, we know, is just do it. All we need for McDonald's is just the art. That's all we need. And the way they work with their brand, but they've been doing that for years. Your visual content, you know, 65% of visual learners. So you know that you'll get more content if you've got things happening, and think about in terms of videos and stories. And when you're telling your story, you know, solve a problem, tell them how it's different, celebrate a customer, explain your inspiration and passion for why you do what you do. So all the ways you create content. You know, if you think about an avocado, what are the sort of things? You've got all the stuff to do with how you grow avocados. You've got the tree and the plant. You've got things about when they ripen. You've got all the products like dips and avocado toast or smoothies or dressing or salads or different recipes and all those sorts of things. How to eat. There's heaps of content. And when we do the content, I was talking about how, you know, avocado ripens. I could do a report on it. I could do a video. I could have the how to know. I could have user generated content. I could interview a grower on avocados. So think about all the information and the different ways we can represent the same information. And then align your content and have a plan of attack. So if you're posting in terms of your content and your news, then I want it to be aligned everywhere. Have a plan and do it consistently across all your platforms. So when I say craft a plan, if I just stop sharing for a second and I go in, actually I'll share, but I'll just get out of the screen. So I want you to kind of think, this is, you know, this is May, June, July, August, September, October, craft a plan. And then I'm going to write general things, X, customer testimonials there. I've got something about tips. What are my tips? What are my promotions? What are the events that's going on? You know, May, Mother's Day. That's given me multiple posts, if I think about it, that all of that could go into my main newsletter, and then all of this individual theming would go into my individual posting. And then that will I'll just craft that up for a year ahead. And if we had some time, I would have crafted that with you. Next week, I'm going to run something on email marketing, and that's where I will actually start to play with some of this and build this, and we can work with some of your brands to do that. But it's just very easy. You've got to come up with this plan of attack. And probably at that point, I'm just going to jump into the social. When we look at stuff that we're doing on social, no surprises. You know, it's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn. There's a little, you know, obviously there's Twitter, Tinder, there's other things, but they're kind of the main things that you're probably going to be looking at. And obviously LinkedIn, very important if you're business to business. Everyone asks the question, are my efforts successful? At the end of the day, social is social. You know, you've got to develop relationships, and it's very much, you've got to have it's a social club and a way of belonging. So you've got to have a plan, determine your goals. What's the objective? I want you to ignore the vanity metrics. I call vanity metrics things like views or large numbers of followings. It's great if you've got it, but when you really want to understand how you're engaging with your audience, I want you to track and measure engagement, shares, likes, actions, calls, website visits, sales, and baskets. And that's when I want you to get smart. I want you to be specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time. So, you know, whenever activity we do, and whether it's a newsletter or it's a social post, I want actions. You've got to track it. Even our website, you know, to be honest, I want you to think about actions there as well. You know, I want you to read more, call now, find out more, you know, think about that. I want you to track. We've got to try and get engagement. The more engagement we do, the higher, you know, it starts to build our relationship. But obviously when you're in the social environment, you want to build relationships. You start conversations, thank them, ask them questions, tell them what's new. Say, I'm thinking of doing this. Do you like this? Remember, like we talked about, you know, do you like this tagline or do you prefer this one? Get their feedback, get some engagement, focus on the quality, not the quantity, because the goal is about how do you develop relationships. So if you think about when you meet someone for the first time, you kind of got to, you know, you've got to try and build trust and give them reasons to believe. So, you know, the headlines in terms of social is short and concise. Keep your photos relevant. This is a lovely little quirky baker. She's got all these fabulous gluten-free bakes. And she's, she really does express her own personality here. Did someone say cheesecake? She's like, today I made cheesecake. And then she does the photos and does little videos of what she made and things like that. She's just starting out, but it's building, so you got to build and nurture relationships, keep it in your own voice. Mini stories equals one idea per story, engage. So if someone likes something, thank them and PM them. Everyone trusts family and friends. So I invite all your friends to leave reviews and testimonials and give feedback. Ask them questions. What do you think? How do you feel? Do some interviews with customers, or, if you're giving them a cake, let them take a video and ask them permission to post it on or share with it. And obviously, videos are far more engaging than just the posts and things like that. And you can offer them introductory offers, promotions, contests. You've got to keep it relevant. Facebook carousel ads are engaging with a high click-through rate than single images. And the reason for that is that you end up staying on them longer. So if you've got a carousel, you're flicking through the carousel. So you could use it to highlight a product or illustrate how to use a product, or just have, different products in it, or you can use it in shop style format. The reason they get a high click-through rate is because people stay on them longer. And they do. They enjoy that swiping. It's that physical engagement. For ideas and inspiration, I love Canva. And Canva now have introduced social media. They're now letting you post directly to Instagram and Facebook. So it's great. Great imagery. If you want royalty-free images, you can get it from Unsplash and Pexels. If you're spending money on Facebook and Google, they will all support you, and they will come to you and give you a free advice. So my advice is always to make use of that. And then when you do the reminders, and I'm presuming most of you have kind of set this up, but obviously you always make sure that your social media is on your website. You create business brand pages. You make sure your Facebook and Instagram are all linked. Obviously, you guys have aligned all your contact. You use the same words about your brand everywhere. In addition to posting on Facebook and Instagram, I would have my Google My Business and make sure I post in Google as well. Make sure that, and when you post, it's a combination of a visually attractive post and, and then it's a headline. Videos and images, are 5 times more likely to be shared. Carousel ads work well. Instagram's growing. Make sure your Facebook pixel on your website if you've got an e-commerce site, and have a plan of attack, as I sort of mentioned before. Have, this is my focus for May. This is my focus for June. This is my focus for July. You can test and learn, and then build an email database, and then you can retarget and remarket. I won't go into too much of this. This is a little bit of kind of what we'll do next week, but basically you're retargeting or you're remarketing, and all it is, all of the platforms mean that Google Ads, Facebook, they all have the capability to target on platform using an email. And that's the key. And I think it's kind of always easier. The fact is, it's always easier to market to people interested in your brand. So that's where, the email marketing is a great value, because you can follow up with people. You can say, hey, Megan, you kind of jumped in here and you haven't come back. Is there anything else I can do for you? It's how you can have that follow-up conversation online. MailChimp have lots of tips. Canva have lots of tips. I always kind of get these on direct. So they always say, 70% of shoppers abandon due to a purchase due to an unsatisfactory shipping option. They say incentivize transactions with compelling promotions. So give someone something. So give 15% off all orders if they're over $100. Buy one, get one free deals. Make sure your price and savings are very clear and easy to understand. And please leverage, if you've got shops, leverage abandoned cart automations. Very important. and give, you know, and just think about your brand. What can you give? How do you add value? You know, add value to your customers' lives. Don't wait for it. Build a relationship, show them that you care, make a difference. So what can you offer them? Free introductory offer, template, tips, interview, gift with purchase. What could it be? Discounts, refer some friends and get a bigger discount, give your friends a discount. A lot of the makeup ones do that. And then track and continuously learn. That goes without saying. I'm not going to delve too much into email marketing, because email marketing we will capture next week in our presentation. But at the end of the day, I've got one word of advice: send more emails, please. If you want more customers and sales, send more emails. 91% of consumers check emails daily. They're more likely to open an email than a social post. Your open rate on average is 20%. So if you only send one per month, it's going to take, you know, 5 months to reach 100%. Title is very important, and just send useful information, you know, tips, advice, and those sorts of things, and always link them back into your website and then test and learn. But yeah, and for the majority of cases, you know, you've already spent the money on your website, you've got all of that database. It's, you know, you could be, if you don't have too many on the database, you could be in something like a MailChimp platform, and it's free unless you get, you know, thousands and thousands. But it's a great way just to nurture relationships and remain top of mind with your customers. And obviously all the big companies do it when they set up their rewards. Before we jump, what I'll probably do, just in the essence of time, I'm just going to jump quickly into a B2B. The only thing I kind of want to say is, when you're in business to business, thought leadership is what you need to develop. It's about being on brand and authentic. So, you know, when you're in social, it's about developing your community. When you're on LinkedIn, it's about being a thought leader. So you've got to think about what insights and industry sector information can I provide, you know, to interviews, information and news can I provide that's going to be relevant to my business audience, is really where we're thinking. And at that point, you know, in terms of coming back with the summary, is understand your target, work with Google, think from your target's perspective, always, you know, kind of be very succinct about what value do you add, and then align that across all your platforms. Really concentrate on how you add value and you're different from your competitors. Think about the benefits, not the features. Develop conversations, have calls to action everywhere. Please email, develop databases, and think about what you can be emailing and keeping in contact, and how you develop relationships. And visuals and video and customer testimonials are good. And when you're in LinkedIn and you're in B2B, your goal there is to develop thought leadership, and your platform there is LinkedIn, amongst others. In terms, you can stay connected with us at Realize Business. And in terms of upcoming events, next week I'm going to specifically talk more about email and newsletter marketing foundations, and talk more about how we create content and come up with our master plan of attack. There's another one in terms of just social media, and there'll be a deep dive into the 101 on social media. There's another one on digital marketing foundations. And then there's another one if you need to, what else you can do with the Google My Business. So lots of kind of webinars coming through. Just going to stop sharing there and just come back to everyone. And any final questions? How was that for everyone? Did that help? Have I got some thumbs up? Cool. So at this point, guys, what questions, any questions that you've got? You can go off and mute just one at a time. Is there anything else that you'd like to ask?
Quick question. From one of the last slides suggested maybe emailing more than once a month. Like, I'm a yoga business.
Yeah, you can yoga. I'd give them a meditation a week. give them a pose, give them, I don't know, give them how to think. Yeah, go for it. Try it. Because you know what? You're only going to get 21. You're not going to get 100%, right? We all do it. We don't unsubscribe. Like, we unsubscribe when we don't like something. But remember, if I showed you my emails, I see them, but sometimes I just don't have time. Doesn't mean I'm not interested. So yes, go for it. Give it a try, but make it relevant and authentic. Absolutely. Any other questions?
Perfect. All right. Well, it seems like we've gotten through everyone's questions. I do want to apologise. I know we have had a little few issues today with the connection, so we'll make sure we look into that and ensure it's sorted by next session next Monday. But as Megan mentioned, we do have the events coming up, so please register for them, even if you can't attend on the day, and that way we can send you out the recording. And if you would like to take up the option of seeing one of our business advisors, you can contact the office, or you can reply back to a thank you email, and they'll be in touch to organise a session for you. But thank you again for everyone joining, and we hope to see you all online next week. And thank you again to Megan.
Thanks, guys, and enjoy the rest of your week. Have good weeks. Bye.